one of the most popular series that's come out so far in 2023. So we thought it would be a good one to use. And it has like pretty good standard American English, right?
I'm going to approach the clip now, imagining that I'm learning actually, just like I used to do in the past, yeah? So imagining that maybe I wouldn't understand some things, what would I do? Yeah, so this is what I would do if I had this clip here now in front of me.
You should know I'm waiting for someone.
Oh yeah? Who's the lucky guy? Or girl?
What does it matter to you?
Didn't mean to interrupt.
You're not.
Okay, cool. So here in the situation, we can see a boy and Wednesday, the main character, the female protagonist. And there seems to be a little tension between them because, if you know the show is about teenagers or pre-teenagers, going to a special school for kids who have powers and who are considered outcasts. So, there seems love interests. That's a common theme in this kind of series. So there seems to be some tension between this first boy that spoke and Wednesday. And that's why she says, what does it matter to you? Because, he's asking her, oh, who is the lucky person that you're waiting for? And then, oh, what does it matter to you? So I can understand that this question that she asks, she doesn't want to answer him. She maybe thinks that he's being invasive. Now, the pronunciation here is interesting. I would actually listen to that clip again and focus on that question. But just to make it short here, imagine after a couple of times, I will get it down. Like, what does it matter to you? What does it matter to you? Ethan, could you explain the connected speech in this question? What does it matter to you?
What does it matter to you?
So we have what there has a glottal T at the end. So it's like what, as if you're cutting it off at the back of your throat. And then we have what does, we have a flap D there, right? The what is it? And then the does also links to it. What is it? Another glottal T at the end of it, right? What does it matter? Matter, we have an American T that matter. So it's not matter, it's matter to you, right? What does it matter to you?
What does it matter to you? What does it matter to you?
Awesome. So I wouldn't have to check this question because, looking at the context, I understand that she doesn't want to answer him. So now I can go to step 5 already. I can imagine myself using that phrase in real situations. Imagine somebody asks me about how much money I make. Hey, how much is your salary? I could say, hey, what does it matter to you? Yeah? So this is one
I
example.
beg your pardon?
I beg your pardon? With that second tone, right? Like, what? Excuse me? And then the second phrase that I found interesting in this clip is didn't mean to interrupt, because there is this first boy, there is Wednesday, and then this third boy comes in, the boy who Wednesday was waiting for. And then he says, didn't mean to interrupt. So looking at the context, you can understand that he walked in the situation and it felt like he was interrupting the conversation or interaction that the first boy was having with Wednesday. That's why he says, oh, didn't mean to interrupt. So sometimes looking just at the context is already enough for you to understand what the phrase is. And this phrase here is also spoken with some very nice connected speech, right, Ethan?
I was going to comment on there too, that you could pay attention, even if you didn't understand the individual words, the phrases there and everything that we explained, you could still, by just paying attention to the emotions, like Wednesday's being rather off-putting. She's obviously not too happy talking to him. Then the first guy is more curious, right? So you can see like he's maybe interested in her. He has some romantic interest or at least some sort of fascination with her. So I think you can already see the different dynamics here, even if you didn't understand what is it to you.
What does it matter to you?
Didn't mean to interrupt.
You're not.
So we have a nice one there with didn't. Anytime we have a contraction that's NT, again, we tend to cut off the T sound. So it's like didn't, can't, couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't, and so on. So didn't mean, and I what I heard there, I heard an American T on 2, and it got reduced to a schwa. So didn't mean to interrupt. And interrupt as well. That's a word with an NT, and it's in the middle of a word, the middle of a syllable. So in that case, we drop the T altogether. So it's inner. It almost sounds like a double N. Like other words like this could be internet, international. So didn't mean to interrupt.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Awesome. So now let's imagine a real situation. Imagine you walk in, some people are having a conversation there. When you enter the place, they kind of stop talking when they look at you. You can say, oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
So if you enjoy learning with TV series like this, then I just got to tell you, we have a course where we help you to really take your English to the next level doing this. We use the first 2 seasons of Friends. The reason we use this series is because there's various academic studies that have shown that this is the best TV series out there to learn English. And this is just because of the type of English they use. It has really actually influenced the American English language and even now other accents. Furthermore, we do exactly like Thiago and I are doing here for full episodes. So you can just imagine you can learn so much by doing this with a full episode. You have transcripts for every single episode, the spaced repetition software, like I was talking about earlier, so that you never forget the new words that you're learning, and so much more. So I highly recommend that you check it out. We'll link it down in the description. All right, Thiago, so we have another clip for them, don't we?
We do, yeah. We do have another one.
You want a coffee? It's one of the many perks of this wonderful assignment.
I'm actually here for Tyler.
I told you he was bad news.
Twice. But who I speak to is my business.
All right, so first of all, where are they? They are at a coffee shop. So that's important piece of information for you to keep in mind. They are at a coffee shop. What caught my attention first was how he asks her if she wants coffee. He goes, you want a coffee? You want a coffee? Like very quickly.
You want a coffee?
And that's cool because you can work with movies and series like this too. Not necessarily to learn complex vocabulary, but maybe different ways to say something. Maybe your default question in that case would be, do you want coffee? Or would you like coffee? That's okay, but you see he goes, you want a coffee? You want a coffee? Huh. So I can do the same, yeah? If I'm talking to a friend and I have some coffee with me, some extra coffee, hey, do you want a coffee? Or you want a coffee? I can do the same. Yeah, so that was something that caught my attention there. It sounds very natural. And then I would probably check the meaning of the words perks and assignment that he uses. I don't know what a perk is and what an assignment is, so I would either, following Ethan's suggestion, I would take notes to check it later, or I would check it then as I was watching it.
So a perk is a benefit of a job. So maybe, let's say a perk that you get with your job is you get, they include a gym membership. It's not something that jobs typically include, but your job does do that to attract talent, right? And assignment, it's kind of a funny word actually here. And this is one of the things that might happen if you look it up. So maybe your English teacher gave you a homework assignment, right? So that a homework assignment, something that you have to do at home, right? But assignment, you might hear it to the context that it makes me think of, for example, is an assignment that a CIA agent gets, or, James Bond gets assignments. These type of people who do investigatory work get assignments. But people who are working coffee shops, we wouldn't typically call an assignment. So my feeling here is that he's being playful, right? He's kind of flirting with her by being playful with the language. I've never actually watched this series. I know the Addams Family, so I know that this character is very, and you can tell by the way she talks, she's very off-putting, right? Or very serious always. But I can imagine just by seeing these short clips that these two have some tension for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. But all that you get by watching it. So that's why it's important to be observant of these things, the emotions going on there. Who are the people in that scene? Yeah, because you pick up many things, even if you have never seen the movie or the series before. And finally, one thing that he says is, I think they were talking about Tyler, another boy. I guess he was actually the first boy from the first clip we saw. And he says, I told you he was bad news.
I'm actually here for Tyler.
I told you he was bad news.
Twice. But who I speak to is my business.
So for me, that was like, okay, you are calling a person bad news. I know the meaning of the word bad. I know the meaning of the word news, but he was bad news. You see, intuitively for me, that sounds like an expression already. Because I know the individual words, but still that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't click. So nowadays, it's really simple to do that. You can just go to Google and you can actually type in exactly the phrase you saw in the movie. So in the clip here, we heard he was bad news. If you go to Google right now and go, he was bad news, meaning, the first point there is going to be the definition of someone being bad news. What does it mean?
Or again, like if you want to do ChatGPT, because there you could ask it, you'll get the definition, then you could say, okay, give me 5 other example sentences of this, or 5 other contexts where I could use this, or so on.
And by the way, Ethan, what does that mean when someone is bad news?
Oh yeah. So if someone is bad news, it's someone that you should look out for because they're a troublemaker. Well, maybe the guy here is just making it up because he's interested in her and he doesn't want her to be interested in another guy. But it could be that this other person does bad things. Maybe they're into drugs, or I don't know, they do different things they're not supposed to do, right?
Yeah, awesome. But you see,